Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Marketing on Tap. This is my mate, Danny Brown, Sam Fiorella, and today we want to talk a little bit about retail therapy.
Don't even.
What the hell is that?
This is my 1972 era.
It's a can opener.
It is a can opener, but in Scotland, this is a bottle opener. It's a low budget show. We always say it's a low budget show. So, this is our bottle opener.
Soon we're going to be chewing those off with our teeth. Anyway, we're talking about retail today because we just saw an article about Sears in the United States, which is titled "Why Sears Could Never Last and What Other Brands Can Learn from the Iconic Retailer's Demise." Here in Canada, Sears has already essentially shut its doors. And so we want to talk about what does it take for a retailer, a brick and mortar retailer, to stay afloat these days in the face of online competition. But as always, Danny is pouring something that looks just outstanding.
Oh, yeah. So cheers, Rob. This is the Halliburton Highlands. I'm going to put my reading glasses on because I'm getting old.
You are getting old.
I am getting old, yeah.
Your 50th birthday is coming up.
Coming up in about 5 days time.
Yikes.
Yep. So, yeah.
Over the hill, my friend, over the hill.
Do need glasses. Anywho, this is brought on by our friend Bill Smith, who's out in Oakville, your way.
Thank you, Bill.
Another craft beer aficionado. And this is the Halliburton Highlands Brewing Coffee Porter. It's got a really low IBU. I'm just going to go jump on their website, actually. Be easier.
Didn't we do a Halliburton one already? Oh,
we did,
Honey Brown Ale,
yeah.
Thank you, Halliburton.
The IBU is done at 30. It's like a really low IBU. It's not a strong beer. It's a 5.3. And what they've done is they've mixed up their normal caramel chocolate, flavors with English-style hops. So, Rob, you might like the English-style hops. And then the coffee porter got a local cold brew roasted on site at Abbey Gardens by our friends at Country Coffee next door to Halliburton. So anywho, it's a nice seasonal coffee porter.
We're getting to that time of the year. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Robbie, cheers.
We can smell coffee.
Oh, I like that. First of all, I take coffee intravenously, so that's already a win on my books. I like that. Thank you, Bill. And for the rest of you that are watching, if you want to send us beer like Bill did, please feel free to send us beer. What should we be trying? This is fantastic.
This is really good. You can taste the coffee. It's not overpowering. It doesn't take away from the porter, and you really get the chocolate, like a dark chocolate taste there.
Very nice, very nice. It's a whole meal. It's like a Guinness. It's a whole meal in and of itself.
Yep.
All right. So Sears, why did they die? Let's talk a little bit about Canada first, because we have some personal experiences here with that. And in the past they have been a client. So I'll start, I guess, and I can talk about the audience. Sears is iconic. I remember as a kid getting that Sears wish book at Christmas time.
All right.
You know what I mean? I used to live for that thing. Getting those, it was like a monstrosity. It was like a telephone book, in thickness, and I'd go right to the toys. No, not the bras and underwear section. I know that's what you're thinking. I did. I would be you. I went right to the toys and I would start highlighting everything I wanted my family to buy me for Christmas. It was a big thing. So Sears is really ingrained into my memory, into our culture, into my history. All good memories of Christmas and family, and yet it didn't survive. And of course, there's a couple of nails in the coffin, in my opinion. But the real thing here, when it realized that it had been the American company sold off the Canadian division, it got sold a second time, and then an investment company came in and bought it. And they had some interesting ideas, but they just couldn't get that relevancy back. At the end of the day, with all the customers that I interviewed, and even on its final days when it was closing down and they were selling everything for nothing, I went in, and what did I notice? There was nothing but senior citizens walking this place. They tried to rejuvenate the brand. They brought in lower cost fashion, high fashion stuff. Racks really high, very colorful. Drake was playing really loudly over the speakers. Like, they tried to go with a younger, hipper look to bring in a bit of a younger audience. But even when they were getting rid of all of that stuff at 50 and 60 and 70% off, there was nothing but senior citizens in there. I talked to one of the salespeople and says, we've yet to see a young person come into this store. So they just failed to make that transition into the audience. But I think did they even ever stand a chance is the question I want to ask you? Or, is that younger audience just online?
Yeah, no, I think, I knew a guy that worked in the advertising department at Sears during the time of the transition and everything.
Okay.
And he mentioned the fact that they really struggle. Sears Canada, anyway. I know Sears US is different. But Sears Canada made it really hard to make that transition from brick and mortar retail and sending out the catalogs and the flyers and everything like that to digital advertising and going online. Their SEO and their pay-per-click advertising budget was barely minimal, at that time, and they were trying to make that transition. So obviously, as more people, and especially the younger audience, you see they try to go after, if they're online and you're sending out mailers, etc., there's a big disconnect there right away, and you can't really force the young audience to come in just by playing Drake on the stereo or loudspeakers.
Well, but the thing is, what I noticed, I agree with you. And what I noticed is that they didn't come up with anything new. Right. They were mimicking successful retail strategies of other companies that were already selling to that audience. I'm scanning through the article that I saw in Adweek on Sears in the United States. And the co-founder of Metaforce, Alan Adamson, is quoted here as saying, Sears didn't reinvent the business. You have to treat these things as startups, not as a rehab project.
That's a great quote.
Right? And the reference here is that, other people have come in, taken it over, new CEOs have been, put into place to try and save the company. But they just tried to go through a rehab process. How do we breathe life back into this thing as opposed to breaking down the model, deconstructing it, and coming up with something completely new?
Right.
I know Robert, who's our producer sitting over there, wrote a blog post before Canada's, or when there was, I guess, rumors that the Canadian Sears was going to go down, wrote a really interesting article, which is up on senseimarketing.com still, where he suggested that if you really want to reinvent the wheel, as opposed to just mimicking what other retailers are doing, how about going online, selling online, but maybe offering it as an auction instead of just selling regular products? You're not sure you want to buy right now? Maybe place a bid.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was really
almost like an offline eBay.
Like an offline eBay. You can do that in the store, maybe using mobile technologies. Go in, you see something you like, scan it, place a bid on that product if you're not ready to buy right now, and you never know.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sure how successful that would have been or not, but that is a great idea of deconstructing retail, turning it into something completely different and going to market in a little bit of a different way. What else could a retailer do today to combat the Amazons of the world, to really break down the model?
I like what Staples are doing, actually, because I thought Staples was going to be another one that disappeared. Staples,
and they're still going strong.
They're still going strong, and they sort of reversed it a little bit. You order online and you pick up in a shop within 2 hours.
Yeah,
so you don't have to worry about you having to be home to get it, go to the post office to pick it up because you've missed it, etc. You order all your stuff online; it's cheaper to buy, because, and then it just gets delivered to the store. Well, it's ready at the store to pick up, basically within 2 hours, which I think is awesome. It's mixing the online trend of Amazon with the brick and mortar of like a Sears. I mean, not a Sears, but so I like that idea that we tie in again to Robert's idea, where you could actually go into this bartering system online and then go into the store to pick it up once your bid has been won, for example.
Yeah.
So it's another way you could maybe,
Well, definitely that online-offline interaction, I think, definitely needs to be augmented.
Yeah.
Some of the retailers that I've worked with in the past where we've deployed these strategies is that in every bag that you walk out of the store with, there's some call to action to drive you to an online experience.
Yeah, it's normally, tell us how we did for the 500 gift card.
It could be some, and they're still doing that. If you go to Home Depot or something right now, on the receipt, fill in a survey and you get that. And everybody's doing that. So that was like one way to start changing the model. But for me, what we were doing back then was not only asking for a survey, we were saying, if you come online, shop with us online and you'll get a 30% discount on these products, which happen to be related to something that I bought. So for example, if I bought printer, like I went into a Staples and I bought ink for my printer. If I bought it online the next time, within the next 30 days, I would get a 30% discount if I bought it online, and whether I picked it up in store or had it delivered. But then when I'm online, giving me something that will encourages me to come back to the store. Right. So for example, if it was ink that I was buying for my printer, clearly I have a computer. Why not invite me for a live, how to spam proof your computer,
exactly.
or add security to your computer, set up a live webinar or seminar, physically that people
store
who buy online to drive you into the store. Essentially, that online offline engagement, there's always one leading to the other, which builds a holistic relationship with the client. And, that loyalty then is built in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Apple kind of does that with the workshops that they do, right? If you're a new Mac owner, they'll put workshops on in your local store. And you can go down there. Home Depot does the same.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's ways to mix, and I think that's the key.
Yeah, I like that idea. And again, it's I think we referenced Apple in a previous show that we've done. I forget which episode it was now, but I mean, if you really look at Apple retail stores sell more per square foot than any other retailer in the country, which is pretty amazing when you consider how sparse those stores are. And they're so focused on service. There's not a lot of product there, and they don't have the widest range of product when you compare it to like a Best Buy or something like that. And yet they sell that kind of volume when you can just as easily buy the product online and have it shipped to your house.
Yeah, because you know what it's like. You're buying Apple.
You're buying, an iPhone is an iPhone is an iPhone. Like you're going to buy it regardless of what stupid new feature they add or don't add to it in the next one. So I think that's really an interesting, look at it. It's the experience. And I think that retail today has to go towards experiential marketing. Just experience in general, not just through its marketing, but through the entire customer journey that I think is going to be very, very important. Another way of maybe looking at that is consider the customer life cycle. That's something we do a lot of times. Like, how are people first being introduced to your brand before they make a decision? What are your touch points when they're making a decision? And then what are your touch points after they've made the decision to make sure that you've got their loyalty and then their advocacy? So one of the things that I know retailers really focus on is getting you in the door. They get you in the door and then they're hoping that you're going to buy however many products. And then there's the whole planogram about how you have people walk to your store so that they pick up 5 or 6 items on the way to what they really want. Right. So those are all very traditional marketing concepts. But I think it needs to be broken down further into the buyer life cycle. And how do we engage people across that entire buyer life cycle, from awareness, which might start online, might start at a trade show, might start at some kind of an event where you engage them, work with them to help build their business. Maybe it's, content marketing, maybe it's online tutorials. Like for me, I always wondered, why is it that Staples, which sells you office supplies, does nothing to improve your working environment? Right. They'll sell you a stapler,
they'll sell a chair or whatever, maybe.
But okay. What they do, of course, they're going into more services. They're offering computer repair, and they will come to your home or they will come to your office now with their Geek Squad, or that might not even be their brand. It's a Best Buy, the Geek Squad. I don't know. I forget what it is called at Staples.
Office People.
Is that what it is? Okay.
I don't know. Should be.
Well, you're welcome to steal that if that's not what it is.
It's not trademarked.
So, why not start to offer, how LinkedIn bought Linda that offers those business seminars. It's not just business seminars or those how-to videos. Right. Why not create a series of how to improve profitability, how to improve your the zen of your office, how to improve productivity in your physical space. WeWork right now just bought a company that optimizes, or they're selling their services of optimizing workspace. Based on their own program. Because that's what they've learned how to do really well is optimize space. So now what they're doing is they're selling that service. We'll come to your office. You own your building or you rent an office in another building. We'll sell you the service of coming in and optimizing your space for you so that it's the most functional for your employees to get the most productivity out of them. Great example. Now, why can't Staples, if you're going to use this, you better pay me some kind of royalty. But, why don't they come up with some kind of an online, or other type of service that gets so ingrained into how businesses operate that selling them product is almost it's a secondary. Exactly. You know what I mean? Because you're making money, or at a minimum, you've developed such a relationship with them because of this free service that you're offering or free content that you're offering, that they're just automatically going to buy product and more products from you, right? Yeah.
Well, just to add on to that, I know, like one of the big things you mentioned about productivity at home and like how you're set up, and one of the big things is being sat comfortable, etc. So you've got the right, back posture and everything.
Yeah.
So could Staples or something like that? I keep mentioning Staples. I know. Could you give you a disc or something, or an online course like you mentioned?
Yeah.
So you're setting up the new laptop, you've bought the office chair, you've bought the desk, you've bought at Staples. You throw this on, and it starts to use the camera on your laptop to get your eye level, your seat level, and say, this line should be your chin, this line should be your eye, this should be your chair should be. Now you're set up to go.
Excellent idea.
Like that.
Yeah, that's a great. And again, it's very interactive with, and this could all happen off of their e-commerce websites.
Yeah, right.
So you're already there. Oh, I need some Staples. I need a stapler. I need some paper. Whatever it is. But again, and they eventually, if they get enough of an audience, they could start selling access to those types of tools. Generate additional revenue for them the way that they're doing physically in store with their print shop and their computer centers, right? That makes a lot of sense. The other thing that I'm thinking is that they should really be looking, all retailers in general should be really looking at some type of 3D or other experiential event. So for example, I think I read an article of a fashion retailer that was doing something with augmented reality.
So when you see your makeup,
you walk in, and you go to a makeup counter. That's a great example. You hold up your phone or something, or you look inside of a mirror, and then you can see your face with different looks.
I've tried that.
Did you?
Yeah.
What,
I didn't actually. No. I'm going to. Kind of for Halloween, just get my look just right.
Do they have one where they automatically give you hair? You can see different hairstyles.
They do. They're called wigs.
But something like that. I know that you can do that with glasses, right? If you want to buy glasses, you upload a picture of your face, and then they'll put 5 or 6 frames on your face, and you can see the one that you like. That's happening online, but you never see that happening inside the retail centers, or very few. I mean, I don't think I've actually physically seen one. I think I've heard of a couple that do some type of augmented reality when you walk in. I mean, way back in the day, 150 years ago when I was younger, and I actually had a retail store. I had a chain of retail stores, in fact, in fashion industry before I got into marketing and customer experience. And one of the things that we did, as incredibly simple back then, before we even had computerized cash registers, that's how old I am, is we would do fashion shows.
Right.
I wouldn't wait for people to come into the store. I would have fashion shows with every new line that came in within the store. And I would invite all of my regular customers to come in at a specific date and time.
So like a pre-launch kind of thing?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, they weren't my designs. I was retailing other people's designs. It was business suits.
All right.
Right. Men's and ladies' business suits is what I was selling at the time, what we were retailing. And so we positioned it as, come in, you'll get the first crack, not only at seeing what the new trends are that are coming in, but we'll also give you advice on, how to style the new stuff, the new suits, and, for men and for women, what shoes should go with what for your business environment. So we were helping people with their business persona, their look, their style as they went into the office, dressed for success, that whole thing back then, when the big shoulder pads were still a thing in the 80s. So, I mean, that is old school. There's nothing new about that today. But even back then, I realized that you just can't sell in a retail environment. You have to create some kind of an experience to differentiate yourself. Anyway, we're getting the bell. So last call.
Thanks for the bell, Stephen.
Yes, thank you, Stephen. We have to keep thanking him because that was all the way from Scotland, this bell. Last thoughts. What should retailers do if they're going to they're an online store and they want to move into brick and mortar, or they're a brick and mortar and they want to just stay alive?
Yeah. Well, I think you have to look at the audience you want to go after. The audience that you've got now is great. That's got you where you've got to.
Yeah.
But the audience you need next is what's going to keep you sustained for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Sure.
So see where these guys are, what they're buying, what the trends, what the behaviors are like, and see how you go after that. So is it a limited online or a bigger online presence? Is it mixing the two together? Is it trying to bring technology into your store where people can see what they're buying before they actually wear it or take it home or whatever? You look at landscapers, they've got the CAD programs, the AutoCAD programs. And you can see what your landscape's going to look like before this big $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 project is in your garden. So something like that. These guys know technology and how it helps their brick and mortar, I guess.
Yeah.
So mix the two and understand again who your future audience is and what their trends
Look at your audience. That goes back to the comment about don't try and rehab your business.
Right.
Reinvent the model completely. Yeah. And I think that would be the one general takeaway that I've pulled out of this conversation is do not try and slap lipstick on a pig. You know what I mean? It's still going to be a pig. If it's not working, you have to deconstruct it completely, break it up, and come to the market with something so radical, so new, so different. Take a look at every time Apple comes out with a new phone. If there's only like one small feature, everybody criticizes the company. There has to be something truly innovative to get that buzz and to get people coming back so that you can stay on that leading edge.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's what I've taken away as the one thing. I hope that's helpful to those of you that are following, whether you're online or offline or considering.
How are they going to follow offline?
Sorry?
How are they going to follow offline?
No, whether they have retail stores.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the viewers.
No, whether they have retail. Do what I mean, not what I say. You've known me long enough. You should figure this out. Whether you've got an offline retail or online retail, we're hoping that this helps you, or if you're considering getting into the marketplace. Thanks for watching or for listening. If you are a fan and you'd like to be alerted, please don't forget to subscribe and or hit the like button, add your comments in the bottom. We'll be happy to engage with you online that way as well. Until the next time, next week, thank you very much, folks. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Robert. Cheers. I love this.